It is not enough to simply give birth, raise and get your business back on its feet. You still need to be able to protect it, because business, like any other resource, needs good protection in this world of limited resources. And most advanced businessmen know about this, and those who don't know often lose their business. It is simply taken away from them. Of course, in different countries, in different clearings, this happens differently. In some places business feels better, in others worse. In others it is taken away rudely. In others politely. Mergers and acquisitions. It all depends on how civilized this or that country is. But in any case, you need to be able to protect business, like all other things that are valuable to us in this life. A chicken that carries golden testicles needs not only self-care, but also protection. Let's see how this can be done. Before starting to find a way that will allow a businessman, an entrepreneur, to best protect his business, this same businessman, an entrepreneur, must understand from whom he will protect his business. That is, you and I need to decide who are the enemies of our business, your business. The first thing that can reasonably occur to any of you, including me, is bandits. Although these guys are not as active as in the dashing 90s, they still impose their services on businessmen. Basically, they can offer you and me the so-called roof, which often does not protect from anything or anyone, which is why it is so called. However, businessmen have to pay for it. And okay, if only you can pay, in principle, you can come to an agreement with the lads. But there are also cases when a businessman's business is taken away from him. That's the main problem for him. Therefore, you need to be able to protect your business from bandits who in our time, you yourself know with which authorities they have grown together and sung. The next obvious enemy of almost any business is another business, that is, competitors. These bastards are our competitors. Sometimes they are ready to do anything to ruin someone else's business. That is, many businessmen, like dogs, often squabble with each other instead of acting together. And in such a squabble, one businessman can kill another businessman, both literally and figuratively. I won't tell you now how all these businesses put a spoke in each other's wheels, because this is the topic of a separate article. So you and I will simply record this threat to your business as real, in order to find a suitable way to protect yourself and your business from it. The next threat to business comes from the authorities, that is, from various government bodies, and in general from everything related to the state and government. Our state power is divided into legislative, executive and judicial, and all these authorities suck the blood from business. Somewhere on business, and somewhere for one's own benefit and to the detriment of society. Well, you yourself know, at least from the same rumors, that business, especially in our country, is terribly nightmarished by bureaucracy and all these checks, the purpose of which is to suck money out of businessmen. The police impose their roof on businessmen under pain of initiating a criminal case, and individual representatives of various law enforcement agencies can take away his business from the businessman. And, in fact, they take it away when they need it. In short, power, be it big or small, is also the enemy of business, and it is its most terrible, most dangerous, strongest enemy. Now, let's look at those methods, or rather, at one most effective method that allows a businessman to protect himself and his business from all the threats listed above. The logic here is quite simple. In order to protect yourself from numerous enemies, you need to pit them against each other, standing behind the back of the most terrible and strongest enemy. That is, a businessman who has created and, especially, developed his own business, must either go into power himself, or begin to acquire close and reliable connections with it. He must, because he needs it, turn power from his enemy into his ally. In general, power is an ally of business even without any connections. Because only through stable power can people do business. The authorities create a clearing where businessmen can graze sheep, consumers, and without power, chaos and anarchy reign, in which numerous gangs create chaos. In general, state power is a useful thing. The state creates the soil on which to grow a business, but so that it does not mow down your business, harvesting for itself, you should strive to be part of it. Otherwise, you will not protect your business in any way. It's not your place to rely on the law, after all, especially in our country, where it is often not observed with impunity, not only by officials, but even by many simple, very arrogant and unafraid people. Whether you want or don't want to engage in politics or get involved with it in any way, it doesn't matter. If your business is dear to you, you will have to do this. You will have to contact the authorities as closely as possible for you. Or you can simply get out of a rotting clearing by chopping the money on it, preferably as quickly as possible. You can go where business is more respected, where private property is sacred and inviolable, and where most people, regardless of their rank, follow the laws. We call this today capital outflow, when people simply express complete distrust in the country, represented by its government, from where they withdraw their money. But to leave does not mean protecting your business. In this life, it's like either run or fight. And if you want to run away, then you will either have to sell your business or leave it. In general, this is not protecting the business. This is protecting yourself and your money. But you and I are talking about business protection, right? This means you need to fight on the side of those who are stronger. Power, it is certainly stronger than everyone else, stronger than bandits and other businessmen, because it has many resources with the help of which it can hit anyone on the head. But you need to become part of it in order to use the resources under its control to protect your business, and not only to protect it, but also to develop it. The world is ruled by force. It has always been so and most likely it will always be so. Whoever is stronger is right. But power can be civilized, and therefore more acceptable to all of us, or it can be wild, convenient only for any Gopota. For all the fucking Don Carolians who are holed up with us today, including various government bodies, of course, corruption, lawlessness are beneficial, when you can use physical force in its various forms against everyone who interferes with you, and not bear any responsibility for it. This is their environment, you see, the environment of criminals and social parasites. They feel good and comfortable in this environment, they fatten, reproduce, and assert themselves in it. Rotting is comfortable in a rotten clearing. It does not need any laws, no rights, no freedoms and other universal human values. She only needs camp concepts to lead an animal lifestyle. Well, if you do not share the views and value system of criminals, all these thieves' laws and other savagery, you need to either be above all this, or use all this for your own protection, or move to live where such laws are not dominant. By becoming part of power, you will become part of a great force. And it doesn't matter what value system the government shares in a particular country, it doesn't matter by what rules it lives and forces others to live, if you are part of it or have a connection with it, you will be more or less reliably protected from any small trash. And from large trash, in principle, you will also be protected. More precisely, taking into account the topic of our article, your business will be protected from lawlessness, all criminality, tyranny of officials and other evil spirits. We live in a world of limited resources, for which there has always been a struggle between people. And the one who turned out to be stronger, by all possible indicators, took the largest amount of resources into his hands and, thanks to these resources, lived very well. Business is also a resource, which is obvious. It also allows people to live well, and therefore there must be power behind it so that no one takes away this resource, robs it, absorbs it, cuts it up and does something else bad to it. State power, thanks to the resources under its control, is a great force. This is the strongest force within this state itself, so you need to be able to stand behind this force and use it to your advantage. The best way to do this is to become part of this government, which is why many businessmen go into politics and do not spare any money to somehow get into power. They are guided by a simple logic: it is better to lose millions than to lose everything. And from the point of view of self-esteem, it is not very pleasant, being a talented businessman, to stand up like a dog in front of some arrogant official, TSARK, and allow him to have you in order to be able to do business. And many people like to parasitize business, especially those who have the opportunity to do it with impunity. Keep in mind that the mainstream elite treats business the same way businesses treat their customers, seeing them as just a fat ram to cut and nothing more. Therefore, you should not rely on all these unworkable laws, on the business needs of the economy. All this nonsense about how business will not be a nightmare, and especially since they will help it, this is not serious. You shouldn't believe this. A businessman, entrepreneur, businessman, individual entrepreneur and whatever they are called, must rely only on himself. In general, you can consider that your infusion into power or establishing strong ties with it is a panacea for all the problems that your business may face. How you will get into power, how you will acquire connections with it that are useful for you, this is a separate conversation, and even conversations, because a couple of articles cannot describe the solution to this problem. But now, wanting to protect your business if it grows and prospers in your country, and if it makes sense to protect it, you can start collecting all the necessary information on what I told you here. I told you in this article about how smart businessmen solve, or at least try to solve, the problem identified in this article, or, if you like, the problem. If you want to make money and live more or less peacefully, learn to be friends with the authorities. Establish mutually beneficial connections with the strongest authorities, in all ways currently available to you. Better yet, become the authorities yourself, and then many of the problems that business faces will practically not affect you. Do not forget that in this world the law of the strong applies. The strong are always right. The strong are able to take away any resources from the weak if they want. So don't rely on social justice, rely on strength.